Scene Mom says, welcome to the podcast from former Phoenix radio host Danny Cutler. Each week bringing you independent music, industry news, the occasional interview, and other fun segments. Let's get to it. Scene Mom says hello and welcome to episode 91. I'm Danny, your host and Scene Mom. And as always, very glad you joined me. Thank you so much. I hope everybody had a good week. And I hope my friends in Phoenix survived 107-degree days. Really glad I missed that. So far, looking ahead, it will be back in the 80s around the time I get there. I will try my best to bring some of those cooler temps with me and extend it to the entire time I'm there. I am excited to hit the road, though. All week has been a scramble to get as far ahead as possible on content and things for my clients so that I can travel. I do plan on working while I'm away, but I can't do that really when I'm driving every day. And I really don't want to work full 8-hour days while I'm in Phoenix. Just going to play it by ear. I probably should get packing too, I imagine. It's already Thursday. Other than that, it's been business as usual here, so let's just get right back to the show. You know, I got your music news, music history, a marketing tip, and another good and nerdy music science news story to share with you. And I've got indie music. So let's get back to that music with a duo that I'm very excited to see in a couple of weeks, The Frequency Principle. Sherry and Tom are such huge supporters of Arizona local music, and they were huge supporters of KWSS radio as well when I worked there. And you see them at shows and singing all around the valley. Over the years, they have also become very good friends as well. This is their first release single called Cool Kids, and you're listening to What Scene Mom Says.
Just stay home and stay. Complete confusion's got me feeling sad. Wanna be a cool kid, wanna be just like you. Laugh and dance and sing, do the crazy things you do. Wanna be a cool kid, wanna be just like you. Laugh and dance and sing, do the crazy things you do. I see your cool clothes, you're out every day. Doing speaking tongues now, sends dollars to charity. Am I too old to be this way? Wanna be a cool kid, wanna be just like you. Laugh and dance and sing, do the crazy things you do. Wanna be a cool kid, wanna be just like you. Laugh and dance and sing, do the crazy things you do.
You're listening to the Scene Mom Says podcast with your host Danny Cutler.
Driver picks the music, shotgun shuts his cake hole.
It's now time for music news.
The music industry scored a landmark legal victory last week in the ongoing fight against AI-generated streaming fraud. The numbers involved are pretty staggering. Michael Smith, a 54-year-old North Carolina man, was found guilty back on March 19th in the first ever federal criminal case of streaming fraud in the U.S. Smith pled guilty to one count of conspiracy to commit wire fraud before U.S. District Judge John Codall and agreed to forfeit over $8 million in royalties he's collected through the scheme. Sentencing is scheduled for July, and there's a maximum penalty of 5 years in prison. So how do you do it? Smith admitted to creating hundreds of thousands of songs using AI, then deploying thousands of bots to stream those songs billions of times. And that was spread across thousands of accounts to evade detection by platforms, including Amazon Music, Apple Music, Spotify, and YouTube Music. As prosecutors put it, the songs and the listeners were fake, but the money he made was very real. A Rolling Stone investigation revealed that Smith was using over 1,000 accounts, each streaming hundreds of his AI tracks daily, which potentially earned him over $1.2 million a year at peak operation. Now, this is pretty significant because analysts note that at his upload volume, Smith alone could have been responsible for nearly 1% of all new music appearing on streaming services every month. Royalties that came directly out of the pool that real artists and songwriters depend on. Now, in this growing response to AI fraud, Apple Music has already moved to double its fine for fraudsters, with penalties now reaching up to 50% of would-be royalties. The question now for the whole industry is whether fraud detection can keep the pace with how fast AI is evolving. And on that thread, the AI deepfake problem in music is getting a lot harder to ignore. Sony Music revealed that it has requested the removal of more than 135,000 AI-generated songs from streaming platforms, tracks created by fraudsters using generative AI to impersonate its artists. This disclosure came at the launch of the music industry's Global Music Report in London, where Dennis Cooker, president of Sony's global digital business, confirmed that artists including Beyoncé, Queen, and Harry Styles were among those targeted. And the scale is just accelerating. Since March 2025 alone, Sony identified 60,000 tracks falsely claiming to feature artists from its roster, with Bad Bunny, Miley Cyrus, and Mark Ronson among those affected. The timing of these deepfakes isn't an accident. Cooker described them as a demand-driven event, so fraudsters deliberately target artists who are actively promoting new music, piggybacking on the buzz an artist creates and ultimately undermining what that artist is trying to accomplish. Now, what makes this troubling too, because there's more, is that Sony believes the 135,000 tracks that it's found are just a small thing, tip of the iceberg. Unofficially, the music industry estimates that up to 10% of all content across streaming platforms could be fraudulent. Solutions are starting to emerge, however. Deezer has already labeled up to 85% of AI-generated music on its platform as fraudulent, and they've demonetized it, while Apple demonetized 2 billion fraudulent streams in 2025, and Bandcamp announced an outright ban on AI-generated music back in January. Cooker was pointed in calling out the industry overall, saying that transparency should not be optional. It is the foundation of a fair and a sustainable music ecosystem. So the question now is whether streaming giants will act and act fast enough to keep up. If your Spotify recommendations have ever felt a little off, maybe because your kid hijacked the aux cord or you fell asleep to ambient rain sounds for a week, well, Spotify finally has a fix for that. At South by Southwest, Spotify co-CEO Gustav Soderstrom announced a new feature called Taste Profile, which lets users review and edit the algorithm's generated model that drives all of their music recommendations. Initially launching in beta for premium subscribers in New Zealand, the feature allows listeners to see all of their listening data across music, podcasts, and audiobooks, and fine-tune future recommendations by asking for more or less of a certain artist, vibe, or mood. Taste Profile is the engine behind some of Spotify's most beloved features. Their Discover Weekly, Made For You playlists, and Spotify Wrapped all draw from it. The problem has always been that the algorithm doesn't know why you listened to something, only that you did listen to it. Users who share accounts with family members or listen to sleep sounds or kids' music have long complained that these habits bleed into their recommendations in ways that are really hard to undo. Spotify says this is the first time a user's entire listening history will be part of the playlist creation process, and it positions it at giving users the power to actually steer the algorithm a little bit. Spotify's own internal data suggests that over 80% of its listeners name personalization as what they value most about the service, meaning that the algorithm isn't a feature, it is the primary reason that people stay. It gives users more control over it as a smart way to deepen that loyalty. So this announcement marks a little bit of a shift in how Spotify frames its relationship with listeners. The algorithm has always existed, and the company is now trying to make the case that they know it's there, and having a say in what it does is just another feature in itself. I kind of like this idea. I still use Spotify because I still use it for the release radar so I can see what indie artists are dropping music. So it's important to me, but I have a lot of playlists that I keep hearing the same songs in my playlist, and I might have like a 6-hour playlist, but I'm hearing the same like little group of songs, and I hate that. So it'd be really nice to be able to manipulate that a little bit. I think that's not a bad idea. So we'll see how that goes. And that is your music news this week. If you have any feedback on these articles, or you have other thoughts or other music news you'd like to share, you can email me, scenemomsays@gmail.com.
I said, do you wanna be my girl? She said, what the fuck is wrong with you? Is that what normal people do? Couldn't tell you if I knew, but I don't wanna live another day with the stupid look that's on my face when I have to watch you walk away. Baby, make the call, 'cause yesterday is dead and tomorrow feels so far. I'm so down to risk it all. Maybe I was chasing chaos after all. Baby, make the call, and you don't have to catch me when I fall. Are you down to risk it all? Maybe I was chasing chaos after all. After all. No, I don't need to self-reflect or ever see a therapist, 'cause these crystals in your purse to warn away these bad omens. But you're not fooling anyone, 'cause I know your life's just a mess. Your choices are disastrous, but I'm so down to risk the fall, 'cause baby I was chasing chaos after. Baby, make the call, 'cause yesterday is dead and tomorrow feels so far. I'm so down to risk it all. Maybe I was chasing chaos after all. Baby, make the call, and you don't have to catch me when I fall. Are you down to risk it all? Maybe I was chasing chaos after all. After all. No, I don't need to self-reflect or ever see a therapist. Yeah, I know why my life's so fucked. I was chasing chaos after. I don't need to self-reflect or ever see a therapist. I know why my life's so fucked. I was chasing chaos after. I don't need to self-reflect. Chaos after. I know why my life's so fucked. I was chasing chaos after.
That was Boston band Battle Mode with their latest single, Chasing Chaos. I love this band. They remind me a lot of Bear Ghost with their kind of nerdcore sound. I'll have a link to their music in the show notes. Scene Mom says it is time for some music history. On March 23rd in 1973, U.S. immigration authorities gave John Lennon 60 days to leave the country, citing a 1968 drug conviction in England. Lennon and Yoko Ono responded by announcing that they had formed Natopia, a conceptual nation with no laws or borders, and requested diplomatic immunity. Also on March 23rd in 1978, A&M Records signed a young new band called The Police, which launched one of the biggest careers in rock history. Again on March 23rd, but in 1980, U2 signed a worldwide deal with Island Records, receiving around $100,000 for their debut album, which was the start of their path to becoming one of the world's biggest bands. And I had to throw this one in. On March 24th, in 2006, Hannah Montana, starring Miley Cyrus as a middle schooler secretly living a double life as a pop star, debuted on the Disney Channel. It launched one of the biggest youth pop phenomena of the 2000s. And my daughter just the other night texted me and said, I'm watching the 20th anniversary special because, yep, we grew up with it in our household. And on March 25th, in 2016, the Rolling Stones played their first ever concert in Cuba, performing a free show for 1.2 million fans in Havana, just 2 weeks after Major Lazer became the first U.S. act to perform there following the ease of diplomatic relations. Wow, how that's changed in just a decade. That's some music history for you this week.
Too
was another Arizona duo for you, March, with their latest single, Ashes. C-Mom says it is time for your marketing promo tip of the week. Answer social media comments and private messages as soon as possible. According to a survey by Amplify, only 8% of consumers are willing to wait 48 hours for a DM reply. 8%. It's seriously crazy, but it shows just how much of a, quote, instant gratification society we've become. This can be very stressful if, like me, you are trying to stay off social media a bit more. I also just recently had a consultation with a local caterer, and we were going over all their marketing, and she told me that she lost business because she was at another work site setting up, doing her thing, and not even 24 hours later, she went to get back to them, but they had chosen somebody else. So she was actually out there working, doing her job, and the person couldn't wait, and she lost a job for that. So what do? Here's some things you can do to help with that. Set up a little automation. You don't have to go full chatbot, but you can have an away message that lets a person know that you will get back to them in a certain amount of time. You can add an email or an FAQ link. Make sure that you get back to them. Have a set time each day that you check messages and comments, and make sure you respond. Like I said, if your away messages say that you'll get back to them within 24 hours, honor that. Even if you don't have a full answer for them, it will be appreciated. So let's make 2026 the year of marketing and promoting with intent. Get in touch and let's talk specifically about your business strategy. You can always schedule a consult with me at dannycutler.com. And I have the twice monthly newsletter where you can get even more information, and the private Facebook group. And yep, all the links will be in the show notes.
You can call me cruel. Shoot me down the sunset aisle, a cannibal loose in you, turn a kid, I'm your spirit animal. Shoot me down the sunset aisle, a cannibal loose in you, turn a kid, I'm your spirit animal.
From Colorado, that was Voltaire's Ghost and Spirit Animal, which I happened to find in my release radar on Spotify. See, like I said, it still has a couple of good uses. C-Mom says it is now time for some nerdy music science news. 2 weeks in a row. Pretty cool. We have known for a while music is good for the soul. Now science is getting more specific about exactly how good it is and how much you actually need. A new randomized clinical trial out of Toronto Metropolitan University found that listening to specifically designed music paired with auditory beat stimulation, it's a technique that uses rhythmic sound patterns to influence brain activity, can significantly reduce anxiety. And the sweet spot, it turns out, is remarkably precise, 24 minutes. The study tested 144 adults with moderate anxiety across 4 conditions, a pink noise control group, and 3 groups listening to music with auditory beat stimulation for 12, 24, and 36 minutes respectively. The 24-minute session produced the strongest overall reduction in both mental and physical symptoms of anxiety, performing similarly to the 36-minute session and clearly outperforming the 12-minute version. As the lead researcher put it, 24 minutes appeared to be long enough to meaningfully shift those anxiety levels, but not so long that listeners need to carve out a large block of time. So look at it like a precise dose, the same way you take a certain amount of medication. There may be an optimal amount of therapeutic music. The researchers say this approach could offer an accessible, drug-free option for people looking for additional ways to manage stress and regulate emotions, particularly given the challenges that come with conventional treatments like medication and therapy, costs, side effects, and long wait times. So the next time someone tells you to just put on some music and relax, they might be more right than they thought. You just have to set the timer for 24 minutes. I think it's a great idea. I'm actually going to try it. I have to learn more about those auditory beat stimulations, though. I don't quite fully understand that, but what a cool thing.
Another show. We just wrapped another show. Sitting here looking out the window, reflecting on our better days. When you walk by, I think to myself, my oh my, I wonder if you'd give me a try. I could show you all the crazy ways of how you make me feel. I'm all giddy and kitty inside, but with the blink of an eye, I've already lost my sight. Your silhouette is starting to fade away. The crazy cloud of my sorrow and art is begging you to stay. Can we at least give it one more try? That flaring spark when it was just you and I. I'll meet you where we first met, under the Arizona sunset. The rain consumes my mind like a heavy monsoon. For the sunflowers are in bloom. What color shall we pick today? Throw a petal here, or do you love me? Throw a petal there, floating to the ground. Would you even care that your memory never fades away? While I'm dreaming here, thinking about what could have been. 'Cause when you started to cry, I knew right there and then. Your silhouette is starting to fade away. The gray that flare and spark when it was just you and I'll meet you where we first met. Under the Arizona sunset, your silhouette is starting to fade away. The crazy cloud on my side heart is begging you to stay. Can we at least give it one try? That flare and spark when it was just you and I'll meet you where we first met. I'll meet you where we first met. I'll meet you where we first met. Under the Arizona sunset.
I'm heavy on the Arizona bands this episode. That was Ali A and the Agency with Arizona Sunset, which was the very last song I played on my radio show before I permanently signed off. Still brings tears to my eyes. Such good memories from my life in Arizona. All right. Shaking it off. That's it for episode 91. Links to all the music and news you heard this week will be in the show notes. If you have any feedback, you can always get in touch on social media. scenemomsays on Facebook, D Cutler AZ everywhere else. And you can email scenemomsays@gmail.com. If you like what you hear, please share. It does help support these amazing artists and it helps me as well. Thanks as always for listening, and you'll hear me again in a month when I return from Arizona. Take care, guys. You've been listening to the Scene Mom Says podcast. Intro, outro music is Look Good for the Radio by Fairy Bones. Learn more about Danny and the show at dannycutler.com.